Hey,
Hey, hey.
up, man. Looks like we
It,
got some extra guests today.
it is going good. I have my little people, my two boys here that you guys have heard me talk about, and they're excited to say hi and make an appearance.
Cool. What's up? Maybe they need to introduce themselves.
You guys want to say your names?
Nick first. No,
If you're watching us online, this is Cooper and this is Luke. You've heard me talk about all their fishing and Lego stuff before, so they wanted to come on and say hi.
Cool beans. Welcome, boys.
Absolutely.
Glad you guys are here.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of fun because these guys have never been on, but we kind of get to do a little what was yeah, you've been on. They're gonna correct me now, guys. That's tracks. Last week was a big week, and we got to talk about in the wilderness.
Wilderness, yes.
And
Woo, that was
being
good.
in the wilderness.
That was rich. It was deep. It was powerful.
Yeah.
I hope
And
people are chewing on that like I'm chewing on this gum.
yeah. And I have been I feel like I've been in the thick of like everything that we were talking about last week.
Wow, that's awesome, girl. Well, I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah. And I am definitely finding my comfort zone in it. And it's starting to be the really pretty scene, and it's really cool because there for a long time when I felt like I kind of like, couldn't breathe, now I'm kind of like taking the deep breaths and just trusting.
Here we go.
How about you?
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, I released as I prepared for that, so I was excited about that. I've been chewing on that for weeks. I do want to point out Jennifer mentioned. She said, "Oh, too cute. Hello, young man, talking about your boys." So, audience is already shouting out to your boys. Y'all are stars.
You guys got an audience. You hear that?
So
no.
Yeah, but I'm really jacked about tonight.
Yes.
We made a big pivot. So this is the stage play that I was in. It's not ministry, it's competition. And we have our producer, Booker Fleming, and one of our star actresses, Renee, that's going to be here with us tonight. So, yeah, we're going to get the juicy before, during, and after, and future plans for Booker T Productions. So I'm really excited about talking about that and hearing next steps. So, you got any thoughts before we get started?
Well, it looks like Booker has just arrived, but I was thinking earlier about this and the fact that how well it translates from last week to this week of being in the wilderness and taking that leap and really getting comfortable, because at one point Booker had to literally take that leap himself.
I was bringing that as one of the first questions.
I know it. I thought that might happen, and I'm thinking, what a great intro into this. Of we get to dig into what that looked like for him,
right?
And now that he has brought it to fruition, I am beyond excited to hear what he has to say and what that looked like for him.
Yeah, he's a powerhouse speaker, and Renee is a powerhouse speaker as well. So.
Yeah, I'm excited for her.
Yeah. Is that my cousin? My cousin has jumped on. Oh my God, Atlanta Big Face is in the house.
Atlanta Big Face, gosh.
Well, are you ready? Without further ado, jump them in. So let's bring Booker to the stage real quick.
Bring in our celebrity. Yeah. Hi, Booker.
What's going on, y'all? How you guys doing?
We are blessed and highly
doing great.
That's good.
Good. Yeah, good day.
Can you guys see me clearly? Am I dark?
Well, bro, you're already dark, so.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
No, we see you. We see you.
All right, good.
I just wanted to do a quick. He had sent me some info on him, so to introduce you guys, here's just a few tidbits about Booker. He's the father of two boys, two sons. He's produced music and videos for some of Kansas City's premier gospel artists. He performed at last year's People Choice Awards. He has starred in several plays, also as a writer, director, and producer of several short films and stage plays. He's a son of a playwright. See, I didn't even know this, and a singer. He's also a counselor, a former music teacher at Kansas City Christian College. He leads Kansas City's premier youth choir, Next Generation KC, who is set to release their second album next year. So, Misfits Man is a Nation, if you would welcome Booker T to our audience, to our stage today. We're excited to have him. He's got a lot to say today. So.
I'll be at the audience.
Thank you.
Without further ado, the star actress along with him, Renee, in our stage play, is with us today. I can't wait to jump in. Surprise book. I'm looking at it. Jennifer is saying welcome, Booker. So our people already engaging you. So Mark, can we bring Renee to the forefront as well? There she is, Renee, the lovely Miss Renee, the vixen in the play.
Hello.
What's going on?
So, did you want me to jump in, Coach? Or Gary?
If you don't mind, do a quick intro.
Okay. So, my name is Renee. Didn't get a bio out, sorry. So, I have two boys. Actually, I just had a good weekend, celebrated my son's 21st birthday. So, I was pretty excited about that.
Was that a Vegas trip?
Oh, no. Heck no. just family time here. I just can't believe I have a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old and a senior this year. So pretty excited. So other than that, like Gary said, I was in part of the play with Booker. I played Felicia, and then right now, and I'm currently in another play that's coming up in October. And then I also had a podcast, but right now we are on break. We're scheduled to resume back in October. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything is going okay. And actually, that's what my cousin, who's also was during on the play, he played the assistant pastor and the in the play also too with all three of us. So I'm excited about that. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay.
What's your podcast name?
It is Real with R&T.
Nice. Okay.
Well, I want to jump right in because we just finished last week a powerful show called Into the Wilderness. And my guess is that's relevant to both of you. We talked about the difficulties of stepping into unknown territory or new space. So Booker, I'll just start that question with you. We laid out an outline to our cast, to our audience last week of how to overcome that situation and, give them some jewels of the journey, so to speak. But, what did that look like for you? I know this was, I believe, your first play that you wrote, produced. So tell us how that evolved.
Well, it involved with God just telling me to do it. And I'm a guy that when God tells me to do something, I'm just going to do it. So it started by me getting my laptop, getting a spreadsheet of paper, and I just started typing. Didn't know what direction it was going in. Didn't know how it was going to start, end. And about 3 days later, I had a whole script. Wow. So I read it and I'm like, man, this is kind of good, right?
Okay, question real quick. Did you know that you were writing a play, or were you just like writing thinking like, I don't know what this is going to be, but here we go?
Oh, wow. Good question.
I think I knew it was going to be a play. I can't remember the conversation with God. Honestly, I just knew that God. No, God told me to do a stage play. He did.
Okay.
Yeah, and so when I started writing the, I had just I never wrote a script before. I just remembered the scripts that I had been in, so I just tried to mimic, scene one, scene two, and like I said, 3 days later, I have a whole script. I started calling people, and I was like telling them the story. They're like, "Man, this is good. I want to see this." And so then immediately God started putting people in my brain of who was going to play what parts.
Yeah.
And like Renee here, I called her and said, "Yep, I need you to play this certain part." And at the time, I didn't know that wasn't who she was in real life. You know what I'm saying? But looks can be deceiving. You know what I'm saying?
We promised tonight, so there's the first part.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, that was what happened, man. And I set a date. When God tells me to do something, man, I just go for it. So I set a date. I said I'm gonna do it on this date, and I'm gonna start my first rehearsal on this date. Didn't know who was coming, who wasn't. Got all this stuff together, man, and now what? A month later, we did it.
Wow.
Boom.
That's
I
powerful.
love that. And
Yeah,
we're gonna get a picture of it because, or I believe, yeah, there it is. That is like a like mic drop thumbnail right there. I love that.
Yeah.
it was powerful as I put it out, on social media.
Yeah.
When I passed it around, like the office, at work, people were blown away to see that cast. They felt power. Hadn't
Yeah.
seen or heard anything. A lot of those people, Booker, I didn't even tell you that, but they're like, man, that's a powerful group of people that he's assembled, which then they said spoke volumes about you, as the leader of the group. So,
Okay, I want to know, and I had this question the minute Gary showed me this long ago. How did that title come to be?
Whew. I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't remember. I have no clue how that came about. I knew that it was a line in the play. And I was thinking about so many different lines of what would be the good title about it. And I ran it by several different people. Everybody was like, you should name it this. You should name it that. And then I just prayed. And then God was like, it's not ministry, it's competition.
Love it.
okay.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
then as you built the cast, you said the Lord directed you to different people. So was there a process for that? Did you just have people in mind that you knew? Did you solely put really into the wilderness here situation? Did you just put all your trust in the Lord and just say, Lord, I'm going whatever direction you tell me to go. I'm picking whoever you tell me to pick. What was that like?
Yeah. You know what? I'm a guy that doesn't like to use a normal people. I've been blessed to know some of the greatest, talents in the city, but I don't want to call them. I want to call people who would come in and say, man, I don't think I can do it, because one of my gifts is pushing people to a limit that they don't think that they can ever go. And so that's the part of the experience I like, especially because what I notice is if you come in and you think you know everything, I can't work with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I like people I like people who ask questions who are also in an unfamiliar territory, because those are the type of people that listen more. And when you work with me, you gotta kind of listen. You know what I'm saying? I give some different type of instructions, and Stephanie can attest to that. She made a post about me. I don't know what Booker's trying to do. He's trying to. I was like, but that's me. But when you work with somebody who knows it all, you know what I mean? We ain't gonna work well together. So, like you guys mentioned, the cast, it was a bunch of no names that in the fact of acting world, a lot of first timers, a lot of people who only did maybe one or two shows. So I didn't assemble a bunch of people who had a bunch of experience. It was a lot of first timers, but they didn't act like first timers. I'll tell you that.
Hey, You're doing exactly like biblical things do, and pulling the no names out of somewhere and saying, "Let's polish you up and throw you in the fire."
Oh yeah.
Well, and speaking
Yeah.
of that, so we got Miss Renee here with us tonight.
Yep.
He played a star pivotal role, and just, you know, being her uh, an actor alongside her in the play. Man, Renee, the transformation from start to finish, and I'll never forget that last scene. The
Mm.
authenticity, the genuineness within that, the passion, the intensity. So, what was it like getting this call from Booker with this unknown play, a first time play for him? I know you have some experience, but, you know, walk me through that process for you.
Yeah, when Booker called me and told me the part, I did read through it, but I think I just skimmed. And maybe wasn't, like Booker said, wasn't as much as I thought that would come into this role. Um, wasn't really sure. I wasn't prepared for that, what this role entailed. Um, and just with that being said, like Booker said, I mean, um, you know, not that I'm anyway online compared to what I am outside of online, but I would say more online. I may seem more um,
More
maybe
Felicia.
more outgoing, Felicia. You know, a little bit more, out there, like, fun girl, good time. But really, I'm really just I'm really reserved, honestly. So
Real talk,
I have,
Hey, Gary, Coach, I was like, just be you. You're like, I'm not that. I'm like, yes, you are. It's on Facebook.
I gotta interject here because I'm about to call her Felicia. Renee, I was the same way as Book, because the first practice, I went through the cast and friended everybody. So when I went through your page, I'm like, oh, okay, well, he picked the right girl for this role. But as I got to know you, I'm like, what? That is, she is doing some straight up acting in here, because she is quiet and reserved. She's powerful,
yeah.
silent, powerful. So that was awesome to see you switch the gears like that.
Yeah, so that's for me. Yeah, I'm a little bit different behind scenes. So, like I said, been married. I was married for quite some time. So, it just seems like probably that. So I really don't have, like, I'm just not out there. Just not, yeah, it's just not me. But I mean, I love posting things. I mean, I do believe with some of the things I said. Sometimes I just say it just to get the wow factor. But I did the same thing in my last play that I did. That actually me and Booker that's where we kind of intertwined, because he was going to play a role in the last play I was in, because a guy had got sick and we didn't know if he was going to be able to make it. Even that role, it was very stretchy for me too, because it was more, I don't want to say ghetto, but she was kind of loud and ghetto, and, big earrings, stuff like that, smacks on gum, but totally different from what I am. I can't even stand people who smack. So a lot of people didn't know if I'll be able to pull that off either. So I'm kind of, yeah, it was definitely acting. So I appreciate Booker. Like I said, just believing in me. He did see something else that he thought he seen. But I'm glad at the end I did give him what he was looking for. And, so it was a great experience. And working with everyone and everybody that, like Booker said, assembling those group of people and seeing that half of them don't have the experience, or was either just like me, only had been in a few plays. You wouldn't have been able to tell that, like, especially by the end. The things I've seen tremendously with a lot of growth and just people doing everything. Gary, AO, just a lot of people, Jim Girl, just things I've seen, like, wow, you have never learned a script or never did, and they literally took scripts and even Booker's throw in stuff that we wasn't prepared for. Our little what did you call it, Booker? Our snippets. What is those things?
The trailers.
Yeah, the trailers. Yeah, I don't think we were ready for any trailers. Those were like, just here you go, like a couple of days, a week before, and on top of just learning. So the fact that so many people learned those things and were able to do that was amazing for that type of cast that he did assemble. So it was amazing.
Okay, I got a question for you then. Knowing both sides now, what you got to play and who you really are, I want to know how the experience was for you being able to play that piece, and did you have fun at putting that out there, and like what was that like for you, as well as how are you coming out the other side, and have you kept any of that character?
Do you need, in other words, do you need counseling to come out of that role? Basically.
Right.
Right. I definitely haven't kept none of that. That she that Felicia was in that play. Definitely. I probably, I probably wouldn't want to be any of that. But it was definitely, with working with it, with being able to see what I can do, has opened up other doors. Booker always said, you never know who's in the audience. You never know who's paying attention. So with that being said, next year I am supposed to play lead. I'm in another play because of this play. So it just let me know that I can, I can do the things that I set for. I do have goals as far as to, move next year and to try to reach out to Tyler Perry and play on some of his things if I can. So I have dreams and always wanted to act. Just wasn't really sure. And now I do know. But some things that I took away that, learning my script a little bit, maybe sooner. I kind of procrastinate a lot. I have a lot going on, but I do, but I do that for myself, just to like push myself even more. But it can make people nervous. I would say Booker, but I even say the person that I was on the last play with, she was also nervous too. I'm just, I'm like a last minute kind of person, but so definitely a learning experience.
Hey, Booker, I've got a question to ask you because he knows I'm not going to let him off the hook and everything because y'all are picking on the actress and all along those lines. And I did hear you say that this young actress kind of fit the role of the character that they played. I've been working now with Coach Newsom for a while and everything. So how much of the role that Coach Newsom played did he actually fit the role that he played? And why did you cast it in that role? Because I was going to go there and everything, Coach. So how much did he actually fit into the reason that you cast him in the role that you put him in?
That's a good question, man. I did not know Gary that much outside, so I didn't know what to expect. All I knew is the role in which I casted him for. Gary actually was the most natural starting off. He was the most, as soon as I saw him, I went around the room on the first rehearsal and I was like, okay, well, I don't have to do much with Gary. And I never did. Gary was always on point. He was always there on time. He was there ready to go. Gary was my easiest. I have my easiest and my hardest right now. Renee was my hardest. and Gary was my easiest. So he was very easy.
No, follow-up question to that though is I know, again, I was there day one. So I read people well, read your face and your spirit, emotions, feelings. There were some hard moments there where I know now you're deep into the wilderness. Did you second guess, doubt? Did you get afraid even? This isn't because I remember some rehearsals. I'm like, this don't look good right now. How did that
Yeah.
feel? Walk us through that.
If I can be honest with you, probably a month in, I was going to quit. I was going to quit. I was going to quit. Probably, I want to say 4 weeks to 6 weeks. I went home after rehearsal and I said, yeah, I'm not going to do this. I don't know what I think it was just, see, you guys didn't understand the phone calls I was receiving afterwards. And it's hard giving your best and sometimes you're feeling unappreciated for it,
Right.
or you're feeling like your ideas are being thrown as not professional, because I really try to pride myself off being very professional, very communicative. And it just seemed like at some point everything was just like, what is going on, and I was like, man, I don't got time for this. And it was just so much, man. I think everybody saw like this part of what I had to do, but there was so much that we did in a little bit of time. And I think a lot of things that people didn't understand is that those trailers that we did was one of the most reasons why we had people in those seats. Whenever you're dealing with a cast that the city doesn't really know as actors,
Right.
you have to sell tickets.
Right.
And in order to sell tickets, people have to know what they're coming to see. And there was nobody on that cast that was going to sell tickets by their face alone. They needed to see what we could do. And I think the trailers, it wore people out, which it should, but it was necessary. And yeah, I got to a point where I was just like, man, this is getting too hard. And then we had, Renee, who wasn't learning her lines. I'm joking. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot, man. I was ready to recast some people. Seriously, I was on the phone recasting people. And I just got to be honest with you, man. But I'm so glad I stuck with it.
Hey,
Well,
Booker,
what
on the
burned?
lines and everything. How much? Because it's something that I brought up on Coach and
So
how
what?
much has self doubt and your own inner critic played into what you were doing, and how did you deal with that and everything? Because I know a lot of times, even on Misfits Managed, we've talked about the self critic and how that can actually be defeated and everything. So, how did you deal with that? Because you just kind of alluded to it, where you were having doubts about the playing in of itself, and you probably even had doubts about your own writing. So, how did you deal with that and all along those lines?
The way I dealt with it is realizing that if I want to go to this level, I got to be able to handle this level. So if I'm going to quit on this level, why am I even dreaming about being on this level? And I had to have a pep talk with myself and say, at some point, I want, like, you guys don't even have a clue of where I'm trying to go in life. And so I had to look at the situation and say, you know what? It's a different when there's nobody to mentor you.
Right.
Okay. And when you deal with Kansas City people, everybody's trying to make it. So there's really nobody you can go to that will give you advice, because everybody wants what you're doing. They look at you as competition. They don't look at you as somebody they can mentor. So you're really in this by yourself. Every situation that arises in your life, you're thinking, well, who can I gain some information from? And I did reach out to some different playwrights, but then people were coming back to me saying the playwright was going behind my back talking about me about other things. And so I just shut the door and said, you know what? It's going to be me and God. And also my twin brother. I called him a lot because my twin brother is a business owner. And so how I got through that is realizing, man, look, if you have a gift and a calling on your life, man, you got to get the job done. And you can whine and cry later, man. You just got to get it done. So, and then Gary, man, Gary did a lot of great things as well. He gave a fourth quarter speech, man. That was like, dude, I haven't played football in a minute, man, but this is sounding real good. He's like, fourth quarter, everybody, get your act together. I'm like, gosh, dang it, Gary. All right, man. So, yeah, it was good, man.
I cannot take credit. That was the Lord. So, so what both of you, because Renee, I know there's parts that you struggled into, but so maybe you go first. What was the turning point? Because I saw an evolution in you, Renee, where you evolved from, an average actress to really a star. I mean, by the time we got to the time to launch the play, and then in opening night all through the Sunday, you were magnificent.
Yeah, correction. She was below average.
Oh,
She was below average.
okay.
Average is being kind. I'm gonna be honest with you. She was giving below average type of performances, but
Wow.
Something happened. But like the first night, I did not know who I was looking at. I said, "That's not her."
Oh yeah.
It wasn't her. That was something.
They always give you a hug.
Shots fired here on Misfits Managed. Shots have
Hey,
been.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was even the fact that even about really the remembering the lines, it was the fact that, like I said, this character was definitely just different from me personally. Just the things that Booker was looking for was some things that I was maybe not as comfortable as I thought I would be. Just as far as just being that close to another male that I'm not involved with. That's what this role kind of entailed, was basically playing a role like as if I was basically trying to get Booker. Booker was the pastor of another church, and basically trying to sleep with him. I had already slept with a married man, is what the storyline is, that I slept with the married man, and so I was his side person, side chick. And then I'm going to get Booker's church and trying to manipulate him to also sleep with me. I was paid money. I mean, so it was just the whole character part, and then also knowing that this was a church play was a little different for me from what I'm used to. Maybe my church is a lot smaller that I came from, so even though I know there was things like maybe some of the things that Booker was trying to touch on, probably going on behind the scenes. Again, I was married the whole time to somebody that was in the church, so we kind of was maybe all about each other and not really paying attention to all those kind of things that go on inside of church between a pastor or just even assistant people who knows and everything like that. So it was just a different dynamic for me. I don't really know. I mean, turning point was we was coming down to crunch time. I also, like I said, because I am a procrastinator, I do honestly like that people do underestimate me. So I honestly just turned that on purpose, because I did see, some people thinking that they did pick the wrong person. So that made me, dig a little deeper, go ahead and get myself together to prove wrong. But that's just me, like I said. So yeah, I probably was. Like I said, I know I could do it. It's just I didn't know if I could put me behind and put Felicia in the front. So I think it helped a lot. Gary helped out a lot at the end, like even Booker said, fourth quarter. Some people don't know. Me and Gary kind of got together after a couple of scenes that was very hard for me to get through. And he talked to me and let me know, he was there for me, that he understood, that, if I needed somebody to talk to, he was there. So, that helped out a lot too, because of course, like Booker, he had a lot on his plate. He had a direction he wanted to go. I didn't know if I really wanted to quit also too at different points. Like, you know what, this is too much for me, or they're too much for me, or they're asking way too much for me. So there was different points, that I also too, like Booker said, thought about, this is maybe a little bit much for, like he even said, we're not Tyler Perry. We're not getting paid a whole lot, so it's not like we're like, okay, yeah, I can do all this and I'm okay with that. No, some stuff I was just like, yeah, I don't know. So
That's like an
it-
internal conflict for you, though.
Mhm.
Like that's trying to take on the part that's morally conflicting for you.
yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. But with the cast, like I said, I didn't want to let Booker down. Per se, really Booker, because Booker, like I say, he cast me. I was glad that he stuck it out with me. And then after being with the team that we had, I literally have certain people from the play that I still talk to, that I feel like I really became close with outside of the play. And I also didn't want to let them down. So to even put that on them to have to get used to someone else, and then also with Booker having to go look for someone, I just didn't want to do all that. So I was like, it's time to get real, and so I did.
Well, I gotta applaud you because you came strong, girl. You came strong, and I'm older than you, so it felt like a daughter maturing right before my eyes. It was just beautiful to see. So I saw that internal conflict that Lauren was talking about, because as I got to know you, I'm like, this isn't even who she is. And I know that had to be hard. So that's why I wanted to make myself available to talk you off that ledge, because you had to go into a dark space. I remember some of those discussions. You had to go into a dark space to do the role. And then, the people think this is how I really am. Because you
Right.
did it so well. You did it
Yeah.
so well. People are like, oh, well, that's who she is. Like the book was talking about earlier, but that's not who you are. So it was.
Yeah, especially that ending part. I mean, I think Booker came to me literally, I think 2 days, the week before we were set to do this play. Like, I'm already learned all the lines. Now he threw something else at me. He's like, well, just do it off the cuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I was really nervous about that, where like I said, I put on, I just went back and I just thought about what he asked for. And I end up, I guess I did pretty well, but some of the cast kind of was starting to open up about, their background and stuff like that. And I think that they thought I had went through some of those times that I had mentioned at the end of that play. And I actually have never experienced half of the stuff I just made up. Like, I just literally made it at the top of my head the night before in my somewhat kind of sleep, and I just ran with it. And then when I was like, oh, wait a minute, these people think I've been. Let me be clear, like, I have never. And then my dad was in the audience, so I didn't want. And I ended up talking about my dad. I've been talking about my mom. I'm very close to all my family, so this, like, it had never ever happened to me. I never experienced it. Just I took from other people's experiences and movies and what Booker was looking for, and kind of just made it up.
Well, but I got to give him credit, because I know at times it was frustrating for some of us, but Book, I got to give you credit, bro, because the pivots that you put us through, I mean, like Felicia, or Renee, calling you the stage name, Felicia, that last scene where you repented, I mean, that was a brand new, I knew he threw in at the last minute and kind of put together for you and I am a little disappointed I didn't get to go a little deeper in that message, but it is what it is. But I mean, where'd that come from, Book? The creativity to. You wrote this play. Mark talked about that earlier. You wrote this play. Lauren talked about that, and then as you're going, you're seeing these creative moments where you pivoted and made changes, which is Lauren is a misfit. That's what we do. We pivot and we roll with the punches.
Yeah. Well, the ending part came in because everybody was complaining about it. They said, "Oh, why is this person not repenting? Why is this?" I'm like, okay, let me just write something real quick, and God just gave it to me real quick. That's why that got put in there. But there were several times where I'd be in rehearsal and something just pop up. That's just the creativity that God's given me, man. And that's why I really wanted to work with people who could adjust. And I think I made that announcement on the first day. I said that I'm a spontaneous guy. You got to go with the flow. And one of the reasons why I even casted Renee was because on her Facebook, she said, Tyler Perry, here I come, or something like that. And so when I read that, I said, well, if anybody that wants to be on Tyler Perry's stage has to be able to adjust. So I said, you know what? She's going to be good. she's not gonna, she's gonna go with it. So that's why I casted her, because I saw it on her page. I said, okay, well, and remember, I wrote in the first page. I said, everybody in here, I believe, is great. And I had gone through Coach's page, and I saw the things you were doing. I only wanted to cast great people. Didn't mean that you had to be great now, but if you have a mindset to be great, I can work with you. And so I knew that once I got started, I was going to be changing calls, changing plays, and I wanted to work with people who said, you know what, I want to be great too. Let's get it done.
Hey, Booker, just along those same lines and everything, because you kind of alluded to it earlier and everything. How much is that crab in the barrel? Because y'all all are in Kansas City as the producer of the show. I'm actually here in Durham, North Carolina, and I've actually got quite a few friends that are in the playwriting field and in the playwriting space and entertainment space. And I do know that crab in the barrel attitude can be very much a notion, whether you're in Kansas or whether you're in Durham or whether you're in California or even Atlanta, where Tyler is and everything. So I just wondered, how much is that something you had to face and deal with, and how did you deal with that whole crab in the barrel attitude, where people are wanting to pull you down and not necessarily trying to lift you up?
Well, first of all, that was going to be one of the titles of the play, Crab in the Barrel. And the thing about it is, man, is this. I think I told the cast this, that when I came to Kansas City, I felt like people were hating on me when I started playing keys. And then when I moved from keyboard to then preaching, or I started leading choirs, and then I started getting the hate on other choir directors, and then I moved to being a pastor, and so then I got hate on by other pastors, and then when I started to do videos and short films, then those started coming, and then I was like, now I'm doing plays, and then I can't find a friend in the stage play.
Oh man!
Now I'm doing talk shows, and so it's a never ending thing, because the thing about it is hardly anybody's comfortable with what God's given them to do, man.
Right.
I
love the business.
I just had a guy reach out to me that's also doing stuff that I do, and I sat there and talked with him for an hour, because there's the stuff that God gave me to do, man, got nothing to do with you, man. Like we all have our own lane. And I gave him tips, gave him pointers. Hey, man, I went to his page and said, this is what you're doing wrong. If you want to up your viewership, this is what you got to do. I'm not jealous of nobody. And I'm telling you, in Kansas City, man, it's a great city. It's just you have a lot of people with great talent who aren't willing to put in the work. And when they see you putting in the work, that's when they want to start to try to pull you down, man. And so what you have to do, man, is that you gotta live your life, man, almost flawless. You can't be in scandals. You can't be messing with people and getting your name out there bad, because people are looking for anything just to say, hey, man, I saw him. He did this. He did that. And so I just stay to myself, man. I stay in my house, raise my 2 kids, and I don't go many places. Don't talk to many people, man. So that's what it is.
Well, but that was one of the points. It's funny that you said that, because remember, that was one of the points you're talking about, my coaching moment, that the Lord put heavy on my spirit that day, that this city, there's a cap on this city of competition. So it's funny to hear you tell the full story of you coming to Kansas City and experiencing it. I've seen that with so many people, but I want to shout out to Brian Andrews. He's commenting, Tyler Perry's not easy, he says. I think that was probably for Ms. Renee. And then Jennifer is saying there is greatness in every cast member. The play was phenomenal. She was there for night 1 and night 2. So she enjoyed it. Lauren, I'm sorry, I cut you off, I think.
That's all right. So, Booker, I want to chat for a minute and kind of bring this to a close ish. This whole play, it sounds to me like you really got to be in your own wilderness. You got to get comfortable in it. You had to, as you said, you were reaching out for help, and it wasn't coming to you. And, it ended up being God was calling you to get comfortable in the wilderness and feel it out. This is a you and him kind of thing. So now that you're on the other side of that, and you were talking about, nobody knows what your next level is, only you know, and only you and God know. So what's next for you?
What's next for me, man, is another play. It's going to be part two to the play. It's going to be expanding the talk show that I'm starting. It's going to be hopefully finding a wife. Lord Jesus, somebody help me out today. But yeah, that's the that's the next step, man.
Okay, so do you have what's this talk show? I want to hear about it.
And I would say before he starts, the one that I saw, I haven't watched your latest with the two ladies, but the one that he did with the two pastors, oh my God, unbelievable! That was powerful.
Yes,
I think
sir.
AG hit it right on the head with his last comment there.
Yeah, it's
let's see, are the infamous twins with an intent to sabotage. Sadly, it's far too prevalent among people, sometimes in close proximity to us. 100%.
Right, that's so spot on.
Yeah.
That's very spot on and everything. Hey, Booker, just while I'm thinking about it and everything, how difficult was it to do these plays that you're talking about? Because you're talking about, I know even in my own life, I sometimes talk about the history of a cultural center that I work at, and we talk about the warts and all. So you are exposing some things. I know Tyler does the same thing as well, but you're exposing some things about church politics that often aren't comfortable to talk about. So how difficult was that for you to deal with that, and how much of a pushback did you get? Because from what I'm hearing, this play is not shying away from some very difficult topics that happen in our church community.
Man, the most of the pushback I got was from in-house in the cast. It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't really pushback from outside. It was really, I would say my dad gave me a lot of pushback with his character. Um, one of the things is when you allow people to, let me say this. I had a script, but I also allowed people to do their own thing in that script. There was many things that people added in there that wasn't in the script. And along with that happening, certain people get attached to the script and think that their real life is that. And my dad had a hard time detaching his real character to the character he was playing, because I allowed people to become the character, saying there was times where I said I wanted you to be on the script, but there's times where you were free to be you. And I think that a lot of the pushback was, hey man, how are people going to view me? How are people going to see me? Some things were so believable that like Renee had to do is explain, this isn't me, y'all. I'm not this person. And so that was the biggest challenge, man, was trying to say, hey, bro, you're not that guy. Listen, it's okay. Everybody knows you're acting.
Yeah,
it's okay. And so yeah, man, I didn't really get much pushback from the outside people, because a lot of the outside people were like, man, you expose some things that I've seen happen in general. So yeah, man.
Well, is the current play done? What's any next steps on that before part two comes out? Are you recasting? What's all that look like? Renee, what's next step for you? I know you talked a little bit about some things that you're currently doing, and you're trying to get on Tyler Perry's radar for next year. So what's going on in your world, both of you?
Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, I mean, like Booker said, just taking on different plays, different scripts. Like I said, so that's pretty much me. It's just basically digging in, seeing if this is really where I want to go. It is. I don't look at it. I also did modeling before this. And I looked at that more as a job after a while, and I was like, well, this is not making me any money, and I kind of just stopped doing it. But with acting, I actually enjoy it, honestly. Just like I said, even though it's putting pressure on myself, I kind of enjoy that. That's even just like me. I work in HR, so there's pressure, on me even with that. Some people assume I'm one way, but then I'm a whole different way with my HR hat on. So I think maybe I just act period. So for me, just whatever. Like I said, I'm just trying to get my last child graduated and then see where that takes me. I'm a little nervous because I've only lived outside of Kansas City per se, just for college, and that was it. Then I came right back home because, again, like I said, I was married for so long. So to actually think to even go to Atlanta or Louisiana for like 50 cents where he's trying to build his empire, it just, it just makes me wonder, it's going to be a lot of competition out there. So working with, like I said, working with Booker, working with Trish, I've worked with her a few times, just seeing the different type of people, and the different things that each one requires from them to even with movies. With those, there's totally different than actually being on stage and knowing how to project. Then actually being able to say cut, stuff like that. I mean, you're actually live. There is no cuts. You mess up, you mess up.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm happy, excited to be a part of just that. I was a part of this play, and just looking forward to working on other plays and other movies, and just brightening some of my background and knowing that I can play certain roles and they could be believable. I can say that if I had to tell, I think my dad told me, if you had to tell people that this wasn't you, then you did your job. So for me to have to tell people that's not me, and even with Booker's dad, I can understand him really sinking into that role, and it reminds me of I think Omar Epps did a movie called In Too Deep, and he got so in deep into him playing like a drug dealer role that he literally had to go and like Booker said, almost have therapy and everything to get out of that particular thing that he did to try to get close to that drug dealer or something like that.
Yeah,
and so it literally, so I can understand where Booker's dad was going with it. I guess for me, like, unlike just like Booker too also did kind of touch on a little bit, Kansas City is very small. Very small. So if you do have a lot of skeletons or if you have different things that you never know who knows who, it can ruffle some feathers. And so I think with being married for so long, I haven't, touched a lot of people. So I was good. So everybody knew that wasn't me if they knew me. So I was good. So yeah.
What's the dates of your upcoming play? I believe in October.
Oh Lord, that's funny. I don't even know. I think it's the first. I know it's the first week of October.
Okay.
It is the first. Again, it is the first week of October. It's first weekend, so it's that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of October, and we're actually performing at the same location that Booker had his at too. And it's called Hall Pass. So I'm very excited for that. My role is not as big as it was in Booker's or her last one, but it's a very, if that's kind of weird, very important role to that part of that play. So it's gonna be good. So like I said, something to see. See the other members on that team that's called Hall Pass. So, anyone who's married and ever thought about giving their husband Hall Pass, you might want to check it out because you might change your mind.
Hey, Booker, along the same lines, I did hear the question that Gary had asked you and everything, or Gary asked you, but do you see yourself taking the show on the road? Because I just went, I think it was last month, to the International Black Theater Festival, which is in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I do know that there are a number of playwrights like Garrett Davis, who's from Fayetteville, and Renee Nixon, who's from, I think, the Raleigh-Durham area, and everything, that have taken their shows and traveled on their shows around the area, including some of these gospel-type plays. So do you see this particular play being on the road and not just being in Kansas City, but maybe being seen in like in Atlanta or North Carolina or in New York or a number of other places that are out there?
Good question, man. No, I don't necessarily want to travel with it. I do want to do a movie, and one thing about me, man, is I haven't really been out the Midwest. Never been on a plane, never seen a large body of water. It freaks me out. So that's something I need to pray about because it would be great to be on the road, but right now I'm just I grew up in Tonganoxie, Kansas, and never got my mom, dad never took me anywhere. So I think I went to Nashville last year and freaked out the whole way.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you guys this. I didn't tell anybody this ever. But this is gonna sound bad. This is gonna sound real bad. But after I hit St. Louis, I had really never been outside of St. Louis. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't driving. I was in the passenger seat, and I got me some alcohol, and I kind of just eased my nerves a little bit all the way there. I don't want to admit that. Hopefully, the Christian world's not watching that, but that's how I made it.
There's
That's
no shame in that. When I am on my way to the Ozarks from here and I'm in the passenger seat, you better believe I'm calming my nerves in the passenger seat so that I can let off some steam from my week. So I feel you on that.
No, I feel you too, because if I understand correctly, and I got to look it up and everything, I think that Stevie Wonder does not travel by plane anymore, or along those lines, or only travels in certain ways because of an incident happened many years ago when he was actually traveling and was involved in a crash and everything. So he is very limited in what he does and everything. And I think you've heard that too as well, Coach. But I know that I've heard that he's very limited in his travels. And I want to say it was an accident. It might have even happened in my state of North Carolina. But I know that he has definitely been very cautious about how he travels because of something that happened to him in the past.
Okay. Booker, I got a question then. Based on what you were just saying, does that mean with your big, lofty, wonderful goals and dreams, you are going to put Kansas City more on the map with the producing and the plays and bringing it to be a bigger name?
Your phone cut out. Say that again. I'm sorry.
With all of your lofty goals and dreams and everything, are you planning on going to put Kansas City on the map and a bigger sort of movie play kind of scene?
Oh, good question. I'd be lying to you if I said that's not my goal. I'd be lying to you.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I'd be lying to you if I told you that my dreams is if I told you, you'd probably be like, but that's what's in my head, man. So good question.
I love it.
Well, bro, I'm excited. I mean, to experience your first one and to watch the evolution of you and, my fellow castmates throughout this process was powerful. This play for me was stepping into the wilderness. My yes to you opened the door for so many other powerful things in my life, not just relationships and friendships that blossomed with other cast members within the play, but just, some things in my own personal life that I was able to confront because of the play. And I just used the same courage, the same yes. Hey, I said yes here, and God showed up for me, so I can say yes over here, knowing that God was going to show up for me. So I can only speak for me, but it was powerful for me. It was life-changing for me. I'm excited that I got to be a part of it. I'm excited and hopeful, prayerful that I get to be a part of the next phase and some of the other things you're doing. I love being beside my sis Renee here because she did an awesome job, and I just watched her grow, knowing that there's so much more evolution and growth in her that she hasn't even reached her highest level yet. So
I'm excited about her next play. I'm gonna be there front center.
Ditto. Ditto.
Yeah.
If we can get some dates, maybe we can be there, bro. But
Yeah.
It is definitely the first weekend of October. Like I said, I just matter of fact, I can tell you,
Listen, Coach.
it,
Coach,
it is definitely
I thought
Go
it was
ahead.
the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. It is the 4th, the 5th, and 6th. I just looked at my calendar, so.
Coach, Trish is now dealing with the beginning stages of her now. Yeah, it was the same way with me. So now
We gotta be on
Trish's
script
problem.
by the 15th of September. So yeah.
Hey, Coach, don't ask her no questions until like the last week. Then she'll know everything.
I do post. Like I do post it, because I'm a poster, but I just and like I said, this is how I am and like I said, that part is me in real life. Like I'll say I'm going to an event and people be like, well, what did you say it was? Did you look at my page? Like what did I post? Like
I know we're one.
I said I'll be there, So hey,
I am that way too. I am 100% that way. I'm like, I'll be there. I don't know when it is, but I will be there.
I'll be there.
I know we're winding down, but Renee, I gotta ask you because I've had friends of mine that have accused me about being too much on what you're doing. But do you ever find yourself overly posting and everything? Because sometimes if you are a poster, we can sometimes be a little bit too free in our comments in posting. So I just wondering, do you ever get caught up in that? Because I know that even my own younger brother has sometimes told me to be careful as to what I post because sometimes I might want to reveal more than they want to be revealed and everything. So I just wonder, is that something that you have to face where you have to kind of self edit yourself and self criticize yourself even when you're doing posting?
Yeah, she's most definitely a poster.
I'm most definitely a poster. Yeah, and I definitely have overposted and maybe have overshared some things. And like I said, I think some things people think are really how I feel, and really they're not. They're just to just post. But yeah, even in a new relationship, I've went through that. Some things that I've shared, and he thought was like, "Did you really just post it?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Did you not know? Did you not know who I was before that? So it's like, yep, I did, So I mean, like I said, my dad and everybody, So yeah, I'll be mindful of it. Certain things I do post, certain things I say, I do keep, my relationship in hindsight, or my dad and my two boys, especially with them getting older. So you do have to be careful in what you post, and how much you post, because sometimes too, with being out here by yourself. Like I say, Kansas City's so small. You post. Sometimes people really believe they know you because you post so much, and they really have no clue who you are. But because you post so much, or you post your family, it's almost like they feel like they know the real you, or they know everything about you, and really you have no idea who they are or what they have going on in their life, So that's the only thing I would say. That's the bad part about Facebook, is knowing what's real and what's them and what's not them.
Well, we're going to close out. We're over our time, so I want each of you guys, first of all, Lauren and I, Mark and I, would love to congratulations for the success of the play, and the individual accolades that both of you received in this. But take a few seconds, and who's the people that you want to thank for this? Who do you want to congratulate, Renee? Booker, who do you want to congratulate and thank for this?
Yeah, Booker, you go first this time.
Everybody, the whole cast, God, even my mother, who's in heaven. She was a playwright, and I never knew that as a kid, watching her do plays, that one day I was going to be doing it myself.
Wow.
And so, and I really felt like my mom was in heaven praying for me and helping me through it. And there was a lot of times where I had some conversations with her.
Yeah.
I want to thank her too.
That's powerful, brother. I appreciate that transparency.
Yep.
Yeah. Same thing with Booker. Like I said, I thank Booker because, like I said, with him, his first play, him casting me, him actually acting in the play and actually doing the play. I know that was a lot. I mean, even like I said, with being on Tyler Perry, basically he was almost like the Tyler Perry, you know, like directing and actually acting, but all in his first play. So hats off to Booker just for believing in me, to sticking with me. And like I said, then just our team alone, and him allowing the creativity of people adding certain things to the play, you know, that brought out certain characters for them, I think helped out a lot. So yeah, I just thank him. You know, of course, my family and everybody that supported me through like different times. And like I said, Gary, like I said, just being able to have different people behind the scenes know too that was cheering you on, or that you were able to go to. Like I said, I didn't even know Gary, and just to now have that friendship, now that I know I can go to Gary about something outside of even play, it's been amazing. And like I said, Gary was very natural. Like I would never guess anything about Gary that he had no skills. So very great to do that.
I appreciate that.
Love that.
Lauren, I'm gonna leave closing thoughts. These are my people. This is part of my tribe. I love these two dearly. So I just appreciate them as individuals. I appreciate everything that I gleaned from them and the lessons I learned and the experience. So I just thank God for both of them, and I just pray blessings over both of them. That the Lord is saving the best for last. That He's stirring up gifts that are lying dormant inside of both of you, and bringing them to the forefront for these last days. And the greatness inside of you we have yet to see. So that's exciting. But that's my spiel. This is your boy, Coach G. Lauren, I'll leave you with our final thought as we close out.
Yeah, I don't have much of a final thought. I thank you both for spending some time with us tonight and sharing your thoughts, your dreams, your guts, and all that goes with it. And thanks for coming as you. So with that, we out.
Yeah, they came as
God
long
bless
as
you.
and we're here to get on out of here with a important message that we awfully end the show with, which is the whole notion of the importance of mental health. So we get out
You
of
guys
here
hang in the green
with
room
a
too.
message around mental health.
I just need to be left alone right now, man.
No, Cam. I think the problem is that you've been left alone way too much.
Life's hard. The world is complicated.
Remember, you are not alone.
Love you, girl. I love you too.
Mental health challenges are common, treatable, and often preventable.
It's time to talk about it.
It's time to defy the fear and stigma that has made so many suffer in silence.
Instead, dare to love yourself and others.
Dare to ask for help and support.
I love you guys.
Dare to listen and show up for the people around you.
Join the conversation.